Hi everyone! I thought I would make one final video for the semester. We'll also just do some wrap-up stuff, talk a little bit about the final, and then end pretty quickly. So, let's get started! So the very first day of class, I sort of articulated that the goal of our class was in a certain sense going to be to give you some tools and resources that you can use to help the world make a little bit more sense. You can think about things more clearly using these tools. You'll be able to sort of recognize instances of unclarity, recognize instances where people are sort of saying or doing things that maybe don't make a great deal of sense. And also that we'd be able to sort of do this collaboratively. This sort of project of coming to better understand the world, to discover what's true about the world, is something that we could all do together. But if we want to actually collaboratively work with other people in the course of making the world make sense, the important thing is that we recognize that we ourselves and the people that we're working with and talking with are all rational. And what do I mean by rational again? I wanted to make it one last time. By rational, I just mean that the things that we believe to be true, we believe them to be true on the basis of reason and evidence. Right? We have reasons we can give, we have evidence we can present in defense of our view, and we all take ourselves to be rational in this way. Never met anyone who doesn't think that they're rational, that their beliefs are founded upon some sort of reason, some sort of evidence. Yeah, now that doesn't mean everyone's right, that they all have at least good reasons, good evidence for their beliefs. Indeed, we've seen throughout the semester a lot of the things that we believe, it's quite difficult to even figure out why it is that we actually even believe them. But if we want to work together on solving the problems of the world, we have to begin from the standpoint of rationality, begin from the standpoint of reason. What we need to investigate and talk about with other people isn't even so much our beliefs, it's not so much our views. What we need to talk about is the reasons we have for our beliefs. It's going to be evaluating and investigating those reasons. That's the thing that we can collaboratively do together. I can look and see why you believe what you believe. You can look and see why I believe what I believe. And we can figure out who has the best account, who can give the best reasons, and maybe even discover what's good and valuable in both of our accounts. And all of that's predicated upon sort of like analyzing the reasons we have. And that's why we've spent most of this semester talking about arguments. Because most of the time, good evidence, good reasons for believing in something, that's going to be a function of analyzing certain kinds of arguments that present those reasons. Figure out what's good, what's bad. That's at least the hope for the semester, and that's something that I really hope you can take forward, going forth in all of your classes, everything you go on to do, philosophy or otherwise. It'll always be benefited by being able to think more clearly and use these resources we developed to sort of collaboratively work with other people in better ways. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about what's going to be on the final exam. There's going to be two different final exams. Group 1 is going to have one final exam. Group 2 and 3 is going to have a different final exam. A lot of the questions will be the same, but not everything. And the reason for that was because of a poorly timed snow day that wiped out basically ended up wiping out 2 weeks of group number 1's class sessions. So, unfortunate about that, but the basic structure of the exam at least will be the same for everyone. The final exam is just another exam. It's not especially cumulative, except insofar as you'll be required to sort of remember some of the fallacies that were discussed throughout the course of the semester. If you look in the Week 14 post-class activities module, there will be links to a couple handouts, one of which will contain all the possible fallacies that could be on the exam, that are sort of fair game for the exam. The difference between Group 1 exam and Group 1, you're not going to have to talk about statistical inductive arguments very much. You'll need to know what they are. That's it. But other than that, you won't need to talk about them at all. Otherwise, everything will be the same. So let's go through and discuss what will be on the 2 exams. So first, there'll be appeal to authority arguments. These were discussed in Chapter 6. And the thing you'll need to be able to do with these arguments is identify any issues that are present within the argument using the 7 criteria for evaluating appeals to authority that are discussed in Chapter 6. And then you'll also need to determine how severe the issues are. Is it severe enough that we need to reject the argument outright, that it's maybe committing the fallacy of the improper appeal to authority? Or maybe should we have slightly diminished confidence in the testimony, but still accept it? Next, there'll be the statistical inductive arguments that were on the handouts that I provided as part of the Week 13 module. You'll need to know what are these, and everyone will need to know that. Groups 2 and 3 will also need to be able to analyze statistical syllogisms, a kind of inductive statistical argument, and especially you'll need to be able to recognize fallacies of incomplete evidence when you see them. And then you'll also need to analyze inductive generalizations, and again, especially recognizing the fallacy of biased statistics when you see that fallacy. Lastly, there'll be the discussions from Chapter 11, which predominantly are the biases that can negatively impact inquiry and how those biases relate to logical fallacies. So you'll need to recognize the various psychological, social, and cognitive biases that are discussed in Chapter 11 when you see them. And then you'll also need to sort of get good at recognizing how these biases are connected to logical fallacies, and then figure out how we might be able to respond when we see both in concrete exchange. Alright, that's going to do it for this last little short video for the semester. Again, I want to thank you all for the good work you've put in during this very trying and difficult semester. It's been difficult in a whole bunch of different ways that go far beyond the scope of just of this one singular class. But our class has indeed been negatively affected by it. A lot of things that we've done this semester that are not ideal, not the ideal ways that I would have liked to have taught the course. We had to use this sort of hybrid structure because of COVID restrictions. It looks like next semester is going to be pretty similar, though hopefully, fingers crossed anyway, that'll be the last semester that we have to sort of deal with these restrictions, and by fall things will be getting close to back to normal. As a result, one thing that would be really helpful for me is if you could fill out the course evaluations and the course surveys that are available in Canvas. I really take those surveys seriously all the time, but they're going to be especially valuable this semester to me because I've never really taught a class like this before. Normally it would just be in-person classes where we do a lot of group work and stuff. That just wasn't an option this semester. So I'd really love to hear from you all. What about this hybrid structure worked? What didn't work? How could I change it to make it better, to better meet your needs? Also, what recommendations do you have, suggestions you could have for how things could be improved? That would all be incredibly valuable feedback for me, help the next generation, the next semester worth of logic students who are going to have to do at least a similar kind of thing next semester. Last thing, this class comes with what I like to call a lifetime guarantee. If there's anything you all need from me going forth in your CSU careers or even beyond, if there's something I can do, please don't hesitate, let me know. If you need a letter of recommendation, I'm happy to give you one. Let's come talk with me about it. We can definitely arrange it. Also, if any of you just want to talk some philosophy or just talk whatever, talk life, talk navigating CSU, whatever, I'm here for you. The reason why I teach at CSU is to teach at CSU. I have to do other things, research, yada yada, but I do those things so that I can teach, so that I can be there for you all to help you all succeed in life. So if there's anything I can do, you're not going to be bothering me, you're not going to be disturbing me, this is the fun stuff. Let me know what I can do for you going forward. And thank you all very much for the semester. I hope you found it valuable. I hope you found the class at least somewhat interesting, and that you've developed some good resources, some good skills that you can use going forward in your academic careers. All right, signing off for the last time. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your semester. Bye.